Nothing can be accomplished in the waking world. The waking world is for this reality of illusion. When a person goes into deep sleep, he goes to his higher self. So you only go to your higher self in deep sleep. In deep sleep. That's the only time you live, is in deep sleep. The waking world is the dream world, and that's what you call the dream world is the real world. So nothing you do on this shit, everything that you do in this world is futile. It's senseless, and it is not even reality, and it never existed. You see what I'm saying? It never existed. So just 99.9 of every conscious movement and even the metaphysical is bordering on the fucking waking world. And what we're talking about here is something totally, that's why I gave you the concept of death. I did all of 1999, I dealt with death. 2000, I'm dealing with sleep. So we're dealing with something outside of the normal function. You gotta understand who gives you what and what lectures you go to. This is what I deal with. You see what I'm saying? I deal with the stuff that don't supposed to make no sense because you ain't used to it. So if it's logical, rational, it ain't the damn place to be. It is that other thing. And whenever things become logical and rational, it ceases to be knowledge. It's only regurgitation. I'm giving you some shit you agree to. That's not knowledge. It was knowledge prior to you knowing it. But that's not knowledge. That's why I don't even agree with myself 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago. You see what I'm saying? Because you constantly supposed to be growing. So therefore, they don't bother him at theology. You see what I'm saying? Keep going. And that's the problem with most of the people. They get a certain theology. And they don't want to go beyond that theology because that's what made them famous. I ain't trying to be famous. We're trying to get the fuck up out of here. And when we wake up, if we still ain't out of here, we got work to do. So it's not about the theology. It's never good enough if it didn't produce the result of ending this motherfucking shit. Immortality is not really done in the physical body. Actually, death is graduation. Now they are masters on the earth that would have to stay around for 300 years or something like that, and that was only because they had students and they couldn't find a master or an adept on the level to leave the school behind. So that person, until they found someone on the level of spirituality that could be the next teacher, until that particular teacher had to stay around. They have had cases of people staying around for 300 years, just regenerating the cells, you see, for 300 years, just so that they could, because there was no one around to teach the school. You could also get this story, because I like to give bibliography. You get the book, the autobiography of a yogi. And I think it was a guy in the autobiography of a yogi by Yogananda. And there was a guy that lived in India in the 1800s, and he was 300 years old, and he was 300 pounds. He was 100 pounds for each year. And so he'd walk around naked, and the police would lock him up. And as soon as they lock him up, someone would run into the jailhouse and go, "Hey, there's a naked man meditating on top of the jail." Because he was so powerful, he could just basically dematerialize his cells and just go to, and just basically materialize where he wanted to materialize. This is a true story. You see what I'm saying? So they would say, well, this naked man is meditating on the jail. And they would go him and get him down, and he would do it again, then they would let him out. And basically he would go and teach the students. And then after he would teach them for so many, maybe about a month or so, he would go under the ocean and sleep under the ocean. He would sleep under the ocean maybe 3-4 months, and he would come back up under the ocean. And when he came out of the ocean, they has to give him big buckets of milk. And big buckets of milk. And the only reason why he was around is because they couldn't find an adept. You see what I'm saying? A spiritual teacher to take over the school. So that's, you know, that might seem like immortality, but that's a, you know, that's really kind of, it's a burden, because the Egyptians used to say foolish are the long-lived. You see what I'm saying? They say it is the Eleusinian fields that we seek, which was talking about the other dimension and the other world, which was the real world. Who wants to stay around in the illusionary world?
This Crawley book, only book, Alistair Crawley Atlantis, but this is the only book that you can't get. But because Alistair Crawley explained in here what Atlantis was. The African root atlas is an offshoot of the range, was the true atlas supported by the ancient world, by the moral and magical strength, and hence the name fabled globe bearer. The root is Lemurian Tala, or Talas, which means black, and which would appear in due course. The A is a feminine pretense that derived from the shape of the mouth. Well, there's your vesicle also. And uttering the sound, the black woman is therefore the true translation to the word Atlantis. This is why this is the only one that ain't in print. It's about like that Rudolph Steiner book. The one where they got the Yakub story, which he set up the island of Dr. Moreau with H.G. Wells. His book, The Atlantis and Lemuria, Rudolph Steiner, is the only one you can't get. You can get it from Health Research, but you can't get it. But all the rest of his books is on the shelf. But this is the only Alistair Crawley book, one of the few ones that you can't get, because he tell you at the beginning of the shit the word Atlantis means black woman. And if you really want to break that down, Atlantis is twitch your legs.
The physical body, which is nothing but a package of shit carrier that you so in love with. You see, therefore, life as Jonas points it, which is Hans Jonas, the guy who wrote the book, is a numbness or sleep and a drunkenness of oblivion. You see, of oblivion. Our ignorance is a form of unconsciousness and infection of the darkness from which we are awakened or called. Knowledge saves us. Knowledge protects the spirit against the sexual love and sensational pleasures of seduction of this world, as Jonas writes. What he means by that is, he's just talking about basically the comfort zone and the pleasures that you are so longing to get, longing for something else that you don't know about, until you get the knowledge and find out that the shit that you wanted, all this stuff, ain't shit, but something created by the damn white man to keep you down here fighting over some bullshit and asking for reparations, money, welfare, affirmative action, and the right to be recognized by the other beasts around the damn planet who know who the fuck you are, just as you don't know who the hell you are. Got it? You see, ignorance of drunkenness is the soul is ignorant of itself and its origin and its situation in an alien world. That's you. You see what I'm saying? In an alien world, it is precisely the awareness of the alienness in which the intoxication is meant to suppress man down into a whirlpool and made oblivious into his true being, of his true being is to be made a children of this world, is to be a person that is held in oblivion and don't know the knowledge of who the hell he's supposed to be. That's the real alien that they're talking about, and that's you. You see what I'm saying? That's why the campaign now is to fight against the aliens. So now Will Smith has now got out the movie Men in Black, where they are detectives fighting against aliens, and they talking about cleaning up the scum of the universe. Ain't that a bitch? Scum down here can't get along with animals and talk about other people from other planets or either other dimensions as damn scum. That's the cracker. Even cursing something that he don't even have experience with. You see? But that's the role of the actual beast.